Everyone likes to be part of an exclusive club, to feel special. And we're here today to tell you how you can take advantage of a special opportunity to add resources to your own personal reference library that is not available anywhere else on the internet. Welcome to Skywatch TV. I'm Derek Gilbert, along with the co-author of the forthcoming book and the source of the special investigative report you've been seeing on Skywatch TV the last few weeks, On the Path of the Immortals, Tom Horn. Tom,
hey,
welcome.
Great to be with you, Derek, to talk about our crazy giveaway, right?
Yeah, it's this is an offer that in my radio career, I had to occasionally pitch things that I was sometimes a little dubious about because it was required. But this is really an opportunity, and I can say this genuinely, that is returning an enormous amount of value for the price. And not just because people who take advantage of this opportunity are getting lots of stuff. It's stuff that's solid and really deals with one of the most underreported aspects of end times prophecy and things that may come. First of all, just for people who may not be familiar with the three-book set, Exo Vaticana, Petrus Romanus, the Final Pope is Here, and the forthcoming book, On the Path of the Immortals, one sort of led into the other. What are some of the takeaways for people that you've put into the books?
Yeah, and a lot of people that are watching this program, of course, may already have the first two books, Petrus Romanus, The Final Pope is Here, and Exo Vaticana. But for those that don't, we're providing them free in this giveaway so that if they don't have them, they'll be able to kind of catch up with how we got to the third book, On the Path of the Immortals. So the truth is, we never set out to write three books. We wrote Petrus Romanus based on the 900-year-old Catholic prophecy, wondering whether the Catholics themselves actually believe that Pope Francis is the last pope, the pope that's going to, sit on the throne of Peter as the world and the church enter into the Great Tribulation period. So we wrote that book, but then while we were out there doing media, people called in and would want to know what we made of the Vatican also talking about aliens and astrobiology, and why are they saying, we would baptize an alien? Why is the Pope's astronomer right now, Guy Consolmagno, actually on an international tour going to universities? And the title of his presentation is, Would You Baptize an Alien? People wanted to know why the Vatican was talking about that, so we thought, okay, the only way to get to the bottom line, we got to go to Mount Graham. We got to go to the top of the observatory where the Jesuits are up there monitoring something, that Father Malachi Martin said was approaching the earth and that will be of the utmost importance in coming years. So we go up, we go to Mount Graham, and that's the second book, Exo Vaticana, and we come down off of it, we send the book to the typesetter, or we think, okay, finally we got to the bottom line, right? And then we get contacted by the Apache Nation, and they want us to know why. They had sued the Vatican and NASA in federal court to keep them from going on the top of that mountain, and they did that because the mountain is in their belief system. It is a stargate. It's a doorway. So On the Path of the Immortals has grown out of this really big question. Is there really something dynamic about the Earth? Is the Earth itself a holding tank, and are there intelligences inside of it? And are there mountain ranges and places that serve as kind of doorways where entities come in and out of our parallel reality, or up and out of the Earth? I mean, this was a big question that almost, in the beginning sounded like a sci-fi film, right? Just a movie script or something. But then as we critically looked at it, we realized there's a lot of history around this that connects to things like giants that were in the United States at exactly the same time that Moses is in the Middle East writing, and there were giants in the earth in those days and afterward. And then we started really looking at Bible prophecy, and we discovered that, here's probably literally the most underestimated aspect, the most overlooked aspect of end times Bible prophecy, that gateways of the earth are going to open and things are going to come out of them in the end times. Now, we talk about the Islamic State right now. We talk about Middle East cauldron, the possibility that there are those who want to build the third temple, that the red heifer has been, found. So all of those are important, but you don't hear anybody out there right now saying, oh, and by the way, the Bible also says, like in Revelation 9, an angel, a star, falls down from heaven to earth with a key in his hand to the bottomless pit. And actually, when he opens it up, there are things that start coming up out of the earth. This, too, is part of Bible prophecy.
Right.
And that really is kind of the core, although there's a whole lot more to the book and the special investigative report on the path of the immortals than that one question. But that's kind of the underlying theme that compelled us to want to write this book and to do this research.
And the offer that's currently available on the website is, in itself, I think, pretty remarkable. It offers the first 2 books in the series, Petrus Romanus, The Final Pope is Here. I have to remember, the director keeps telling me, hold it up here so it gets on the screen. Petrus Romanus, Exo Vaticana, which was the investigation at Mount Graham as to what the Vatican thinks it knows and what it's doing at the Vatican Observatory, the VORG. And, of course, the forthcoming book, On the Path of the Immortals, that's packaged together with an excellent look at the meme that extraterrestrial life exists out there. It's not a new idea in Christian theology. It's actually a very old idea. But of course, it's been appropriated and adopted by the New Agers and, of course, secularists who believe that we're just the product of a genetic experiment done by some ancient alien race. What Lies Beyond by Jeffrey Martis, an excellent book and biblically sound. All of those were offered along with the investigative report On the Path of the Immortals and a presentation that you did for Chuck Missler's Strategic Perspectives Conference, the Secret Vatican and Alien Antichrist Connection. That's the offer that has been put out on the website, but you've decided to sweeten the deal.
Well, what sweeten the deal? It's like a used car guy, huh?
It's crazy, Tommy. We're selling out to the bare walls.
Yeah. A couple of things, the special investigative report. This is exclusive. This is not being offered for sale to the public. This is exclusive through Skywatch Television. People that purchase the book from us will also be getting a 2.5-hour DVD. And then I should say the Secret Vatican and Alien Antichrist Connection, that was only ever presented one time, and that was at Chuck Missler's Strategic Perspectives Conference. It's something like an hour and a half. It's me standing up in front of a crowd talking about this secret Antichrist connection. What is it that the Vatican is anticipating? Why are they talking about our space brothers and even writing theology, Opus Dei level theology now at the Pope's University that's being written that is suggesting that information of an extraterrestrial source might be available soon that would change everything we think we know about the gospel. And so they've gone from saying, I would baptize an alien, to suggesting they're coming here and they're going to baptize us. Well, that whole 1.5-hour presentation, which, by the way, received a standing ovation. Now, I don't know if they're just being nice to me because I'm an old, fat, bald preacher, but people seem to really be moved by the fact that there was exclusive information in this as well. We're making that DVD also available. Now, I want to say, this book here, I don't know why I had never read Jeffrey Martis's book, What Dwells Beyond, but I learned that he was getting ready to put out a 3rd edition, right? And so I got a copy of it, started reading it, could not put it down. And this is probably the finest book I've ever read from a very conservative Christian point of view that dares to talk about life in space and astrobiology and what the ramifications of it might be, and is it a great deception? Will there be a UFO invasion that could give rise somehow to the coming of Antichrist? But it goes into all kinds of stuff. It's got literally hundreds of images and depictions and charts. And I didn't know that my good friend Bob Ulrich happened to be reading this book at the same time. And so when the 3rd edition came out, it's got an endorsement on the top by Bob Ulrich saying it was the best book he'd ever read, and it's got one on the back cover from me saying, best one I think I've ever read on this subject matter. And so the brand new 3rd edition is coming out, and that's the one we're going to be giving away free. Normally that sells for $20 by itself. So yeah, that was the original deal. But then I found out that we were very close to finally having the audio version of what has been a best-selling book that Nita and I actually spent some years, something like 6 years writing this in our spare time, the novel, The Ahriman Gate, which kind of goes into history and this idea that they get, DNA and they get a code of life, that goes back to the Nephilim, ties into UFOs, ties into Mars, some of the stuff David Flynn had written about, but it's put together in the form of a novel. And now we're going to make, and this is the first time, this book's never been available as an audio book. It's not now available as an audio book anywhere online or at Amazon or anywhere else, but we're going to make it available to the people who partake in this giveaway, right?
Yeah, and it's been an interesting project because, full disclosure, yours truly is spending the last 14 months recording this and trying to get this done around other projects and around evenings and weekends. But we're within the last few minutes of getting it done. It's 8 hours of audio, and it's been a real joy to go back and reread it again, because I enjoyed the novel when I read it the first time, but going back and reading it and then trying to put life into the characters has been really a challenge. I will ask this: when the sequel is announced, don't write so many characters with deep, gravelly voices, because it's really hard to do. But we'd like to give you a little sample now of the audiobook version of the Ahriman Gate. I have light sticks we can use, 5 of them. All right, but you'd better pray those are broken bulbs ahead, not a cave-in blocking our path. A chill moved through Stark even as he uttered the sober words. This could be the end of the line. What about the other set of tracks we passed a ways back, Joe asked. The ones with boxcars on them. Is that a way out? It could have been, but not now, Stark said. Why's that? It's a much longer tunnel, several miles longer, and we're out of time to consider it. Pritchard checked his watch and agreed. We have little more than 30 minutes to implosion, sir. There's no way we can go back, unless you think returning topside and out the front gate is feasible. Joe looked Stark in the eyes. Implosion? Accepting a light stick from him, Stark cracked it and said bluntly, Don't ask. And as far as people going topside now, not a chance. That's just a small taste of the audiobook version of the Ahriman Gate, over 8 hours of audio, and not just a good background or primer on the ET deception, but just a really good story.
Yeah, that's what we've been told by a lot of people, and we should also say that the sequel now to the Ahriman Gate is going to start, and we hope maybe that'll be done by the end of this year. It'll come out as a book and then also as an audio book. And I do apologize that you had to learn so many different drastic, gravelly, scary kind of voices to also blend in with the heroes and the protagonists and whatever in the book. One thing we should say, if people have already pre-ordered, because many have, the first original order, they also are going to receive the additional things that we're adding on now. So
yeah, and besides the audiobook version of the Ahriman Gate, they're actually going to get some more resources to add to their personal reference libraries. Yeah,
so here's the thing. Now, over the course of years, we tend to get a lot of overstock, right? These are almost all our books. Sometimes it's books by others. And lately, we've thought, what are we going to do with all of this overstock? So we decided that we're going to add 2 more books. So it's going to be everything that we've been talking about, however many books and DVDs, and the new Ahriman Gate audio book. What would that sell for, by the way, if we were retailing it?
Oh,
this book, $26, something like that?
Something like that, sure.
Okay, and that's going to be included for free. But in addition to all of that, we're also going to throw in 2 more books. Now, this will probably have an additional maybe $40 of value. The whole giveaway here is over $200. But people need to know that those other 2 books are going to be our choice. Now, I grabbed some samples. The thing about overstock is these are not books that have the covers tore off of them. They're not destroyed and bent up or any of that kind of thing.
And we're looking at some examples here. Pandemonium's Engine, which is an anthology with a number of authors writing about what the various things, the doors that are being opened in these end times.
Yeah, that's right.
Brotherhood of Darkness, the classic by Dr. Stanley Monteith. Do Our Pets Go to Heaven? Which is an interesting read, and that's surprisingly a really common question for pastors, isn't it? The Dark Side of the Purpose-Driven Church, Noah Hutchings from Southwest Radio Ministries. Corrupting the Image by Douglas Hamp, Decoding Doomsday by Doug Woodward. Just a sampling of some of these books. Unseen, Dr. Jack Graham's book about spiritual warfare. Noah Hutchings, The Great Pyramid in the Prophecy in Stone. alone. So quite a few connections, additions to collection a reference library that are really useful. So these are not, these are books that are still selling.
Right.
I guess is the point I'm trying to make.
They're in our library. They're in stores all over the place. Many of these, if you went to Barnes & Noble, you would see them in the prophecy sections of the store. This one here on survival, Survive the Coming Storm by Ray Gano, which is kind of a preparedness book for Christians, and numerous other titles. There's all kinds of titles in there. So what's going to happen is people will see a countdown clock on the top of Skywatch TV counting down to May 15th. And on May 15th is the date that all of this product will start shipping. They can pre-order now, or they can just wait until May 15th and make their order on that day. Again, the 2 extra freebie books, you know, they can't call in and request which book they want. It's just going to be our choice, but everything else is as they see it. It's over a $200 value. It's also while supplies last, first come, first serve, and the offer could be pulled at any moment, essentially probably a week after May 15th. So if they want to partake, they need to. And
again, it's 2 other points to point out. It's only available through skywatchtv.com.
Right.
If you purchase the book, order it through any other retailer, barnesandnoble.com, amazon.com, what have you, they will not get this special package.
Right.
And the people who have already pre-ordered prior to this announcement will also get the extra giveaways.
That's right.
Yeah. That's really remarkable because, again, the price, as you see it on the screen, $39.95, over $200 value. Essentially, you're taking your dollar and you're stretching it into 5, which is remarkable, especially when you're putting it into an investment in your reference library, information about things that are to come, a deeper understanding of the supernatural world, the spiritual world in which we live, the spiritual war taking place all around us in this world.
Right.
In which we live.
And another thing I should say is we're doing this because we really want to try to get this book into the hands of everybody. We're not doing it because we're desperate. On the Path of the Immortals is already the #1 book in its category at Amazon. The orders that are coming in from distribution to other ministries are huge. So we're doing it, though, because this is what we've always done. Raiders News Update, which was formerly what Skywatch Television was known as, has kind of made a name for itself. That when we put out a product, typically, we've even lost money on many occasions because it's part of our ministry and we're trying to put valuable information into as many hands as we possibly can. But now we're going to be on television everywhere. People will hear us, they'll see us on network television, not only our own programs, other people's programs. They'll hear us on Coast to Coast AM. They'll hear us on Hagman and Hagman. They'll hear us on Caravan to Midnight. I mean, we're going to be on all the major media talking about On the Path of the Immortals, and there's a lot of excitement around it right now, but they'll only be able to get the 2.5-hour special investigative report, these other products, if they purchase this work through Skywatch TV.
Yeah. So anytime we put together a presentation like this, there is a risk of coming across, as you kind of jokingly mentioned earlier, like a used car salesman. and we hope that that's not the impression that we give here, because, again, these books contain a lot of valuable information. And I'll vouch for the Jeffrey Martis book as well. I saw Bob's recommendation on that book and ordered the Kindle version for my own reference and was really impressed at the depth of scholarship in that book. The same holds true for the work that you and Chris have put into the 3 books we've been talking about here, Petrus Romanus, Exo Vaticana, and On the Path of the Immortals. And some of the books as possible giveaways, the 2 books that will be our choice as we begin to ship these out, things like The Supernatural Worldview, Hidden Secrets of the Labyrinth, the other books that we mentioned here.
Right.
Again, valuable addition to a reference library. So we hope you do take advantage of this special opportunity to perhaps pick up some books that you can share with friends and others who don't quite understand yet the times in which we live and the breadth and depth of the supernatural war that's taking place around us. Tom, you've gone above and beyond, in my opinion. I'm not sure if this were my call to make, I would have been quite so generous with this, but we are honored to be a part of it, proud to be a part of it. And we thank you for including us in the work at Skywatch TV.
All right. Well, thanks for taking time to talk with me about it today.
And we hope you keep watching. I'm Derek Gilbert, and this is Skywatch TV.